The rise and fall of various systems has come with technological advancements, the creation of computer-based communication networks, and the development of technologies that have made it possible to implement and exploit these networks have been among the most significant events in the recent history of long-distance communication.
Good day, I am Owen Canuto from Group 4 and I will be discussing the remote computing. Dr. George Robert Sibitz, whose mathematical calculations and tinkering at the kitchen table led him to invent the first digital computer in 1940. He used his complex number calculator, RCNC, to demonstrate remote computing for the first time on September 11, 1940, when a series of math problems were transmitted over a phone line to the computer, which promptly returned to the answers via teletype. In the fall of 1937, Stibitz made the discovery for which he is now the best known, the use of relays for automated computing. The relay acts as a kind of gate, therefore, that will control the flow of electrical current and was a common device used to regulate telephone circuits. In November 1937, Stibitz decided to see if relays could be used to perform simple mathematical functions. His colleagues later gave them the name K-model to this primitive computer because it was built on his kitchen table. A replica of Stibitz's binary adder which he built in his kitchen called the kitchen adder. In 1937, he built a primitive electric contraption that was added. It was made of dry cells, battery, metal strips, and flashlight bulbs, soldered to wires from two telephone relays. Stibitz decided the model 1CNC with switching engineer Samuel B. Williams, and it was constructed in 1939 at a cost about $20,000. Dynamic Tester was a device developed to guide the design of anti-aircraft gun control directors. Model 2 reduced the number of fundamental calculations for early dynamic testers by an order of magnitude. Although history records the demonstration as a success, remote access of this type was not repeated for another 10 years. Stibitz is remembered as the father of the digital computer for his early work on relay-based computers. Digital computers have changed the world, finding use in healthcare systems, communication, factories, and more.
Hello everyone, I'm Jeric Mañapao. Social influence and relevance. The general consensus is that technology has increased the quality of leisure by allowing faster communication, easier access to distant regions, and the introduction of new items of recreational equipment such as game consoles, exercise machines, and virtual reality. If remote computing was made this way, let us show you how it transitioned over time in a form of our panel.
Good day everyone, since the first topic is already done, which is about remote computing. And now we are going to tackle or discuss about ARPANET. And I, Rangers Manbiotan, is going to talk about the background and why is ARPANET invented.
The ARPA, or the Advanced Research Project Agency. Let's go back to the year 1957, where tensions among democratic US and Soviet Russia is high. On October 4, 1957, the Soviet launched Sputnik 1, beating US to what would be known as space race. As a result of this loss, the president at that time, Dwight D. Eisenhower, created the ARPA, or Advanced Research Project Agency. The ARPA was an agency of the U.S. Department of Defense. The purpose of this agency is to ensure that the U.S. avoid further technological surprise by collaborating with academic, industry, and government partners. ARPA expanded frontiers of technology and science during this time. Computer scientists are envisioning an intergalactic network. Many ideas conceived by these scientists encompass features of a modern internet. It is still early for the agency to begin to set their eyes on the project that were too dim to high risk by others but carry a high potential for high gains. This new magic approach was attractive to certain scientists, and one of them was J.C.R. Licklider. Licklider is a psychologist that turned into a computer scientist who was intrigued with the idea of computer becoming a part of everyday life. At ARPA, he wrote a memorandum about future computer networks, where information can be readily accessed and shared among users. These writings inspired Bob Taylor, who would join the agency shortly after the leader left. When Taylor was in his office where he had 3 terminals, and those terminals is connected to different network. And Taylor wondered, what would it take to connect all these 3 networks using the same terminal? And this question leads to creation of the first integrated computer network, and that is known as ARPANET. Taylor took his idea to his boss at ARPA, and that idea received a go-ahead to build the first integrated computer network, and that is now called the ARPANET project. Up until now, or to the present days, computer networks were disparate, meaning it was virtually impossible for a device on one network to communicate with a device in another network. This was the goal of the ARPANET team, to create a way to join all this network into one homogeneous system.
The plan they set alone was to connect each network using what are called interface message processors, or IMP, and these IMPs handle traffic leaving and entering the network. And today, these IMPs can be viewed as the ancestor of the modern-day routers. It was also decided to use a new concept known as the packet switching, invented by Paul Baran and Donald Davis. And the idea of packet switching goes like this. Information is broken up into smaller pieces, routed over the internet until it reaches its destination. And once it reaches its destination, it will reassemble itself into a whole piece. And fun fact, packet switching still applies up until now. On October 29, 1969, ARPANET came online for the very first time, and this idea became a reality with the connection of 4 university computers. And as shown by the image, the network connected computers and universities in California and Utah. And ladies and gentlemen, the ARPANET, or the first internet, was born. Throughout the years, ARPANET has contributed a lot in the advancement of communication, like the creation of Telnet and FTP protocols. TCP or IP were also developed on it. The first email was sent in 1971 over ARPANET, spam emails in 1978, and also the listservs, early voice communication protocol were also developed on it. Password protection and data encryption were developed for use over ARPANET. And to emphasize, email began to emerge from the ARPANET, and soon users from various backgrounds wanted to get online. But with the restriction that ARPANET have as a government-funded project, it has to take a step back to a more open platform as the internet. So in 1990, after 2 decades in operation, ARPANET was slated to be decommissioned. Though ARPANET fall, its legacy remain, for it remains the heart of most of the modern-day networking tool like email. So it will be further discussed by our colleague Mr. Loba and Albaña.
Thank you very much, Ms. Theresa. Once again, I'm Emilandro of Loba. Me and my partner Carlo will be the one to discuss email. So here in email, we will discuss the background, why it is still invented, the significant changes and evolution, the social influence and relevance of email. So first, let's tackle the background. So Ray Tomlinson was universally credited as the inventor of email as part of program in ARPANET in 1971. With over 2.6 billion active users, 4.6 billion email accounts in operation, email is the most important and widely used communication medium on the internet. Email has become an indispensable part of daily business activities in nearly all aspects of commerce. The massive breadth of population using email regularly can be attributed, in large part, of its accessibility and general usefulness. So that's the background of email. So why this tool invented? So this was invented originally for the people on organization to easily share files and messages with one another by logging in from the remote terminals. Electronic mails made communication between easier and accessible for everyone. This also become a necessity for many processes as such business, commerce, and government education. So for the significant changes and evolution and for the social influence and relevance, let's listen to Mr. Carlo. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Emilandro. For the significant changes and revolution, the first example of email can be found on computers at MIT in a program called Mailbox all the way back in 1965. The system was quite effective but only if the people wishing to communicate were regularly using the same computer. In 1969, the U.S. Department of Defense implemented ARPANET, a network connecting numerous computers across the department for the purpose of communication within the organization. The axe symbol was probably Ray Tomlinson's most enduring contribution to the Internet. Indicating a destination for a message became as simple as addressing it, username at name of computer, which is essentially how email has been addressed ever since. By the 1980s, the infancy of the Internet service providers had begun connecting people across the world, and email hosting sites began to pop up, clamoring for their piece of the pie. By 1993, the word electronic mail had been replaced by email in the public lexicon, and Internet use had become more widespread. Over the next few years, America Online, Ecomail, Hotmail, and Yahoo shaped the Internet and email landscape. In the late 1990s, Internet use exploded, growing from 55 million users worldwide in 1997 to 400 million by 1999. As the Internet became popular, email spam began to multiply too, and that is why email sorting software was created. For the social influence and relevance, easy messaging and file sharing across the world, paperless billings, reduced traditional mail, in educational terms, emails can be sent to apply for admissions, receive results and job offers, and lastly, provides a record of messages and replies as well as files sent. Now, let us listen to Ms. De Leon for her discussion about the Internet.
Okay. The Internet has revolutionized the computer and communication world like nothing before. The invention of radio, telegraph, and telephone and computer set the stage for this unique integration of capabilities. The Internet at once a worldwide broadcasting capability. The Internet represents one of the successful examples of the benefits of sustained investment and commitment to research and develop of information infrastructure. The government, industry, and academia have been partners in involving and deploying this exciting new technology. Okay, let's start. Internet in 1983. Background. In background, over the past 20 years, the Internet has developed at a rapid rate, and thanks to the introduction of Wi-Fi, 3G, fiber optic, and coming soon, G-Fast. Many of us are always connected. But how did it all start? In January 1, 1983 is considered the official birthday of Internet. Prior to this, the various computer networks did not have the standard way to communicate with each other. The Internet started in 1960s as way of government researchers to share information. Computers in 60s were large and immobile, and in order to make use of information stored in any one computer, one had to either travel to the site of the computer or have magnetic computer tapes sent through the conventional postal system. Why this tool invented? For facts and figures, for information and knowledge for personnel, for social and economic development, for tour and travel, for money management, for communication, for business promotion and innovation, for Internet used to speed up daily. The Internet has clearly impacted all levels of education by providing an abundant possibility for learning. The Internet, in addition to its cumulative purposes, has become a vital tool for exchanging knowledge and education. It is not just an information source or a locus where results can be published. It is also a channel for cooperating with other people and groups who are working on related research topics. I believe the future of education is a network future because people can use the Internet to create and share knowledge and develop new ways of teaching and learning that captivate and stimulate students' imagination at any time, anywhere, using any device. By connecting and empowering students and educators, for development, significant changes, and evolution. The internet was first invented for military purposes, and then expanded to the purpose of communication among scientists. The invention also came about in part by the increasing need for computers in 1960s. The internet is now over 4 decades old. A survey of its evolution from a military experiment conducted in the context of the Cold War to a general-purpose technology illustrates the extent to which the network was shaped, not just by the intrinsic affordance of its underpinning technologies, but also by a political, ideological, social, and economic factors. The 1980s was a truly exciting time. All of this made our world better. Social influence and relevance, the internet was no longer concerned with information exchange alone. It was a sophisticated multidisciplinary tool enabling individuals to create content, communicate with one another, and even escape reality.
Thank you for that interesting information, Kherstin. Internet has been around for a pretty long time, and it became one of the most significant technological improvements until now. But let's talk about broadband. Many years ago, broadband internet did not exist. The usage of internet and phones are limited. But broadband first started to replace dial-up in early 2000s. Half of all internet users have a broadband connections by 2007. Year 2000s, the first UK home broadband service was installed in Basildon, Essex by Mark Bush, making him NTL's now called Virgin Media to solve broadband customers during its testing period. Mark Bush was just expecting to stay online longer playing games, but now everyone uses broadband internet. It has revolutionized the way we live, helping us to communicate across the world, to chat, to share photos, watch online, downloading files, films by just clicking a button. Thanks to broadband, it provides us with a new life into the internet, much easier and faster. Why was this tool invented? Broadband was invented to make our lives easier by allowing the signal in one line to be split between using your phone and the internet. In short, you can make a phone call and browse the internet at the same time. So now let's talk about how broadband improved. Here are the milestones on how broadband continuously evolves. Way back 2000, the first broadband launches in UK. This broadband consists of copper wire to connect us on the internet. Year 2001, only 9% of UK households have broadband compared to other countries. In 2002, local loop unbundling begins and non-BT telecommunication companies start installing broadband kit in telephone exchanges. Moving on in 2003, the Advertising Standards Authority defines broadband as having to deliver speed of at least 500 kbps. Virtual World Second Life opens. 1 megabyte ADSL broadband is available to more than 60% of the population. Next is 2005. The 2 megabyte broadband launches. Year 2006, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development started using broadband penetration as one of its indicators of a nation's development. In 2008, Virgin Media introduced 50 Mbps broadband in UK. Fiber optic cables began to be used to supply and enhance broadband. It has boosted connection speeds in the UK to a maximum of 300 Mbps. Thanks to fiber optic cables, broadband speed improved. Moreover, broadband witnessed a huge jump in popularity. It gained around 1.5 million new customers in UK. Year 2009, 50% of UK households are connected to broadband. And finally, 2010, Virgin Media unveils plans for 100 Mbps broadband in UK. Social influence and relevance. At this moment, we are currently facing the pandemic, which forces us to stay at our homes. Since broadband is widely used by everyone, it gives us a huge help during these times like online purchase in Shopee, Lazada, and other shopping apps online. online payment like BDO, GCash, Paymaya, etc. And online learning, WFH or known as work from home, easy access on finding informations that we need, and fast downloading such as files, music, movies, and many more. And last is easy and fast communication via email, video conference, and other social media platforms. That's all on our group. I sincerely appreciate your attention today. Thank you so much for your interest. We hope that you learned something new. Bye!